We got a fence here, barbed wire, mushrooms. This thing's got grass growing out of it. Looks like the raccoons left us a gift. Just like in the last video, we got another dead tree that we're gonna cut up. This is a white oak. This thing was a twin top that split in half. Half of it went that way, the other half went this way. And there's a few unique challenges to this tree. For one, this thing's pretty big for my equipment. But as you can see, it's huge, way bigger than anything that I can cut with the sawmill. So we might have to get creative with the chainsaw. Broken glass, we got a barbed wire fence down here. There's a metal wheel, so there could be metal in the tree, I'm not sure. This is the other half. Years ago, I cut the top half up into firewood over here, long before I had the sawmill. The thing I worry about with this one is at one point we had a target here, so this side of the log may be full of lead. Luckily, lead is pretty soft, but still not sure how I want to approach that either. So let's get some measurements, figure out how many board feet we think we've got, how much this thing could be worth, and make a plan. We're actually about 28 inches wide down here by 21 inches tall. So when I mill it, I'm gonna have to turn it up because I can only fit a 26-inch diameter tree on here. And I really only have a 24-inch cutthroat. So in total, so we got 910 board feet. I'm gonna say white oak, let's just say $5 a board foot, just average. So there could be $4,500 worth of wood in this. Obviously, because it's so rotten, it's so odd shaped, and the limitations of my mill, we're gonna get a lot less than that, but there's a lot of wood in here. So let's get to work. If you've ever hit a fence with a chainsaw, you know it's pretty scary. It gets a pretty violent kickback. And these old rusty fences are pretty hard to see. So I'm just gonna kind of throw this on here as a visual reminder. I also just wanna make sure there's no more fence or metal that I'm not seeing. Let's get this glass out of here. It just so happens I want to make a cut right here, which is right in line with the fence. So I'm going to actually try to cut the fence out of here instead. Obviously this fence isn't doing anything, and it hasn't been doing anything for a long time. Okay. So this tree was between 95 and 100 years old when it died. It's pretty amazing. It's got some really tight grain here. Man, what a beautiful tree. Still completely solid. Yeah, it's still wet inside too. Okay. Nope. Okay. Cool. Of course. It's a few days later. It's been cold, rainy, windy, but we're ready to mill, except the first problem that we have to solve is the tractor won't pick this log up. It's a little too heavy. So what I want to do is build some nice ramps that I can ramp up on here and just roll it straight on the mill. So before we start cutting this, we got to cut some other wood and get this one out of the way. In the last video, if you were watching, we were cutting that red oak. We hit a couple pieces of lead, some big old slugs. And I could definitely tell the blade was getting harder to push. It was still cutting nice and flat. Oh. Got a mouse nest. You're evicted, sorry. It was still cutting flat, but I'm gonna swap out the blade. I like to swap the blades out before they are really dull. That way they can actually be sharpened. But yeah. That was definitely interesting. There's a lot of rot. These things are so rotten. I'm probably gonna have to make some more out of oak or something later, because I don't know. I don't expect these to last that long, but hopefully they'll do the job for what we're trying to accomplish today. I guess the nice thing about it being rotten is it's not as heavy. Well, let's see if it works. I'm going to move the saw head out of the way just in case we have a problem. Of course, I forgot to hit record, so you didn't get to see the sketchy. It was wobbly, it's not perfect, but it's on here now. Let's see if we can roll it on. Man, I can't believe that. Well, I was gonna apologize for not hitting record, just rolling it up on there, because I thought that was the sketchy part. That was not the sketchy part. Getting it up here was the sketchy part, which you got to see. And our ramps, they worked, but they failed. They're so rotten that they broke. They're not wide enough, so I'm getting side-to-side play, and they're not held together. So I'm gonna have to rethink the whole ramp scenario. It's up here. Lucky enough, we're in the right position with it rotated up, because obviously I can't cut it. I can't get the mill past it if it was laid the other way. So it just worked out that way. I want to know how much this thing's worth. If you're curious how I'm getting board footage out of a log, I just type in board foot calculator or board foot volume calculator. Woodweb.com has a good one. Then you just type in your diameter and your length and it'll spit it out for you. This log is 200 board feet. 200 times $5 a board foot, that's $1,000. Obviously we got some rot on the outside, so that's gonna eat into our profit. But we're gonna see what we can get out of this thing. I'm just gonna cut this into 4/4 because those other logs up there, I think I'll slab some of those because there's gonna be some crazy character in those. But this was mostly the straight part of the tree, so I think I'm just gonna make nice 4/4 boards. I mean, look at the rot in this ash. It's just gone. Look at that. That'll actually be a great project for the next video because I've got some more big logs, which you saw, which I'm gonna have to ramp up here. Now the fun part, we get to actually mill the log after all this, but I'm gonna real quick burn these ramps. They're rotten. And it's getting cold out here, so keep me warm too. Whoa, that's getting hot. Oh, shit. I can't even get past it without taking the blade off. Oh, man. Oh, that's funny. Okay, well, let's get dirty. Well, that was stupid. Just getting into the pith, so I'll probably cut that out. If I cut that out, we've got the ray fleck, which is your quarter sawn wood on both sides. Gorgeous. If you look right here, you can see all the ray fleck. That's considered quarter sawn, and you got the pith running through here. And the reason I turned it is I could get quarter sawn here, but I'll also get quarter sawn in this whole section here. We've got enough wide boards, so we're gonna just go ahead and get as much 12-inch boards as possible now. So we're just gonna cut it all the way down. We're starting to run out of light, but I want to show you what we got. These are all 12 inches wide, just a little over 12 inches. Everything's cut at 4/4, which is a little over an inch. There's a bunch of quarter sawn ray fleck in here. I wasn't quarter sawing, but we ended up with a bunch anyway. So I'm going to show you that, and I'll just show you a few of my favorite pieces. And then over here we have all of our live veg. I may end up just cutting it off, I don't know yet, but we've got some really wide stuff like this guy. So let's grab the water. I'll show you some of my favorite pieces, and then we'll tally it up and see how much all of this could be worth. And yeah, very happy. I really hope you can see the color. Man, there's a lot of red and green. And again, this tree's been dead for a while, so the rot process has begun. I mean, the wood's not rotten, but the mycelium and fungus has started to do its work. And that's where all this color, I believe, comes from. Yeah, it's got a crazy amount of color in it. Look how red that is. It's kind of weird. It's like vibrancy's turned up or something. Look at that. Unbelievable. This is one of my favorite boards out of the bunch, so let's see what we got in this one. Oh, look at that color. Man. I just added up all the board feet that we ended up with. We ended up with 165 board feet. I thought we'd have 200. Again, the log volume is often deceiving, especially when there's rot and irregularities in the diameter. But 165 board feet is $825 at $5 a board foot. So that's awesome. And man, that wood is all just beautiful. So this was just a preview. This tree is gonna get more challenging. I'm excited to see what we can get out of it. So in the next video, expect some fun slabs with crazy amounts of character, possible lead, maybe some metal, who knows? We'll find out. I want to clarify again, I said this is worth $800 some. That assumes I could sell every single piece. You have to understand all the effort that goes into it, the equipment, maintenance, upkeep, my time. So this is not easy money, so don't think it is, but it sure is fun. We'll see you in the next video.